You guys, I finally cracked the code. I finally cracked the code. Guess what code I'm talking about? So, I'm here for the shy people again, my fellow shy people. And on today's video, I'm going to be telling you how I was able to ace my interview, the last interview I had. I'll be sharing details on what kind of job it was, and what kind of interview it was much later on this channel. But today, I'm just going to share with you what I did as a shy person that will normally tremble at interviews. I'm going to share with you what I did that helped me to ace this interview. When I got the email to say that I was successful, all the time that I've been praying for God to give me the job that I wanted, right? I've been praying, God, let me just get the congratulations. You know, like there's a time in your life when the only congratulations you'll be getting is from Timu. I don't know why those people always send you congratulations. Congratulations, you've been picked. But I just kept praying, God, can I just get a congratulations from the kind of job that I want? And behold, when it came, it was not just congratulations, it was congratulations on your excellent performance. Like, oh my God. So stay tuned to this video because I'm going to be sharing 5 tips, what I did that helped me to be successful in this interview. So if you're a shy person, let's do this together. The first thing I did was to find possible interview questions. Now, these days it's pretty much easy, especially if you're interviewing at a very popular company. It's quite easy for you to be able to find possible questions online. So I did my research. I checked, I Googled, just checked if I could find any question anywhere, checked on YouTube. I didn't get much on YouTube, but there are some jobs that if you go on YouTube, you actually find possible questions. I know somebody that knows somebody that's done the interview before. So I sent them an email to like share with me possible questions. I also set up like a Teams meeting and they were able to share with me tips that helped them to succeed in that particular interview. So I took all the questions that each of them, I was able to find 2 people. So I gathered all the questions together, right? So I made my own list of possible questions. So I also spoke to people in that field, people that I know in that field, and they were also able to suggest possible questions for me. So I gathered all these questions and I basically had a list. Right. So the next thing I did after finding all the possible questions was to find my own answers to those questions. We all know that in most interviews, the first question they are going to ask you is, tell us about yourself. Like, you should be able to sleep and wake up, or in your dream, be able to answer that question. Tell us about yourself. Like, it's a very important question. Although I've had an interview that they didn't ask that question. They asked it in a different way. And I was kind of confused a bit and it kind of took me off guard. But in most interviews, the first question will be, tell us about yourself. So that is one question that you must have a possible answer to. So I was able to get possible answers to some of these questions, and I kept fine-tuning my answers along the way. Do you understand? Like, there are some answers I was not satisfied with when I wrote them down at first. So I kept trying to find new ways to fine-tune the answers. And the easiest way for you to get possible answers to interview questions is to use AI. So I always use deep AI. People use ChatGPT, but I find that deep AI works for me because it doesn't have any limits to the number of questions you can ask it. You can basically ask anything. So I find that works for me. So what I do is, because basically you have to tailor all the answers to your experience, to the skills that you have and everything. So I'll basically just write down my response to that answer from the skills I've gathered, from my experience and everything. And then I'll just tell the AI, please could you just give you an instruction to fine tune the answer for me. And it gives you a better structured answer that will sound like more reasonable. And so I find that really works for me. So that's what I did. I was able to get answers. So for this interview, I didn't have the star technique questions, right? But in most interviews these days, you would need to answer questions using the star technique. So what you can do is to also have possible answers to common to like star technique questions that are linked to the role that you're going for. Like if it's a role that you know that you, of course most jobs will want to know if you can work as part of a team, if you're a good team player. So you can come up with a story. You basically have to have like a short story of how you worked as part of a team. You can also have a possible answer to like how you stay organized at work. There are some common star technique questions that would you be able to find, like if you're searching for questions, interview questions in your field, of course, to have like answers. So if you're going to use the AI, you can say something like, can you answer this question using the star technique? And then you can put your own short answer, right? So what the AI is going to do is going to transform your answer to something like really more reasonable, just expand it a bit more, and it's going to structure it in the star technique. So you can start to gather all your answers together, like in all the possible questions that you can think of. Of course, don't over bombard yourself. You can work with like about 10 questions and just get possible answers for them. Then I was talking about tell me about yourself. Tell me about yourself question, right? I like to have like, basically everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. You should be able to tell the story of your life more than anyone else. Like, let it be like the gist of your life. So there's a way you will tell your story. Everybody has that unique selling point in their story. There's a way you tell your story that somebody's going to look at it and see you as the best person for the job. Do you understand? So it might even be something that happened in the past, something that had to do with maybe you lost someone and it was something that motivated you to be in that particular field. You have to tell this story in a way that anyone that hears it will be like, oh my God, this person has a driving force that is really strong. So tell me about yourself. Is it time for you to tell a story about your life? But tell it in a way that makes so much sense. Tell it in an excellent way that anybody that hears that story, because see, that story of your life is what is going to get you the job. The first 60 seconds to 90 seconds of your interview, where you have to answer that question, tell us about yourself, that is what's going to get you the job. So you need to be able to tell the story of your life in a way that is intriguing. So you can draft a short story about your life and put it in the AI for it to like fine tune it for you and make it really nice and powerful. So basically, when you've gone around gathering all the answers, the best answers, like when you read that answer, it should make sense. Like I should be blown away when you read that answer to me, or like whoever is going to be on the panel. Like, in fact, like you should be blown away when you read the answer out to yourself. Like it should be really interesting. Now, when you've done that, you've written out all your answers and everything, and you're convinced, you're 100% convinced. Don't settle. Like, have really good answers. Now, when you're done with that, the next step will be to practice in front of a camera. You probably look stupid and all that, but like, put on your camera and just speak to yourself. Practice answering those questions, because you know the thing about interviews, you need to be able to answer those questions in the shortest amount of time possible. So your answers should be short, concise, and make sense. Do you get? Like you have to say what they want to hear in the shortest possible amount of time. So you need to be able to speak to the camera, time yourself. Each answer should be about 1 minute, max 1 minute and 30 seconds, 90 seconds, basically. Like just target your answers to be under 2 minutes. So you should be able to, because when you start to blab, I've gone to interviews where I was just basically lost in the gist and I was just talking. I was just talking a lot. And when you start saying so much, you just start mumbling things up together. And one of the interviews, the feedback they gave me, they were like, you know a lot about this job and everything. But at some point, we're not so sure what you were talking about. Like, you were just saying a lot of things and we couldn't put them together. So it's better for you to say what you want to say and move ahead. Do you understand? So you need to record just on your camera and try to answer those questions and see how much time you use to, and like basically time yourself and see if you're able to answer the question as fast as possible, right? So after saying it to the camera, basically, you also get to watch your video, see like what you're not doing right, basically critique yourself and see if there's anything that you can do better, see if you sound convincing enough, and see if you can improve in any other way. So basically, if you have the more time that you have to prepare for this interview, the better. But I'm telling you that in 2 weeks or even in less than 2 weeks, if you do what I'm saying, it will be easy for you to ace the interview. So for that interview, I had about 2 weeks to prepare. So I used the first week, simple questions, and gather my answers, basically. But even in the second week, the more I practiced, the more I fine-tuned my answers. Do you understand? So it's just important that the first week, you're getting answers that you can just start off with. So now, after you've practiced your answers, we're going to move ahead to the fourth step. The thing you're going to do is to find an interview buddy. Now, your interview buddy, just look for somebody that has sense in your life. Look for someone that's intelligent, someone that's smart in your life. It might be your husband, your brother, your sister, your wife, anyone that you know that has like really good intellectual capacity. Even if the person is not in the same city with you, you can do an online call and just speak to that person. It can be your friend, if you have a friend that you know that, oh, this person is smart, or your mentor, or someone that is in your field, a more experienced person in your field, that will be able to guide you. So look for an interview buddy and just explain to them that you have an interview coming up and you would like them to listen, you would like them to act as an interviewer and just ask you those possible questions. So what I'm saying, right, it might look like a lot of steps or a lot of things to do, but I'm telling you, you don't want to walk into an interview and just freestyle. If you want that job, it's so hard to get interviews these days. So if you want that job, you can't just walk in there and say, okay, let me just freestyle whatever happens. Like, you have to be that good, or maybe their standard for that job is not that high. That's when you get the job. Or like, okay, of course we know that God's grace is sufficient, do you understand? But it's also nice if we can go the extra mile and do what we need to do. So you might just be lucky and get the job if you've not really put in the work. But if you want to put in the work, I'm telling you, like, then you have to go through these steps. You don't want it to be that the first time you're answering that question is at the interview. You don't want it to be that way. Do you understand? You want to have rehearsed your answers, especially if you're a shy person. Because most times, when you see the faces of the people that are interviewing you, you just forget what you want to say. For me, I was expecting, like, from when I spoke to people, they were like, oh, the people that are going to interview you, they're probably not going to even be in your field. They might not really know the really deep details about what you need to say, and just be yourself and everything. So if I listen to that, right, which I almost did, I won't have gone the extra mile to prepare. Because by the time I got to the panel, everyone was in my field. They were like professionals in my field. And like, at first I almost panicked. I was like, oh my God, like, what is going on? Just imagine that I didn't really go the extra mile to prepare and I just appeared that day and I was just expecting magic to happen. The work of this interview body is basically going to be to critique your interview skills and see if there's any comment they'll need to make or anything they can tell you so that you'll be able to improve. So you're going to call that person, have like a series of interview calls, like just make those calls, time yourself, pretend it's a real interview Time yourself. If you're expecting, normally interviews take about 30 minutes. So put the timer. Let's just start asking you those possible questions and you give the answer. Pretend it's a real interview and just give it a shot. I'm telling you, the first few times you're going to do this, right? You're going to feel stupid. First of all, I was feeling stupid for like almost a week of doing mock interviews because I felt like, wait, am I really prepared for this interview? Like all these things I'm doing, am I really even, do I even know what I'm doing? Like, do I even know what I'm doing? I kept asking myself, do I even know what I'm doing? Because by the time I finished, I had a really good body. So after the mock interview, they would like ask me a lot of questions, say, why did you not do this part? Have you done this part? Or what did you talk about this part? Like, really, you need someone that will really critique you. Do you understand? When you've done the interview. So if you have someone that's really going to critique you, you might leave that interview feeling stupid. I kept doing the mock interviews. I did like 4 to 5. I did like mock interviews for like a week, every day for a week, right? But back to back, like every day I was in mock interviews, like so at some point, right, I realized that okay, I need to take a break and really go and sit on my own and practice again. Do you understand? Fine tune some things, then go back to the mock interview. So I did that. And the next day, the person that was interviewing me was like, now I'm quite convinced that you're going to ace this interview. And that also gave me some confidence, right? So after that, I I felt like I was now really prepared for the interview. So another thing I'm going to talk about is your equipment setup. My laptop has the camera is like where the keyboard is, right? So I didn't even know that was a big deal. Like I've always used that laptop to do interviews, but my mentor was like, this laptop, you're looking down like this instead of up because you need to maintain eye contact if it is a remote interview, if it's an online interview, you need to be able to maintain eye contact. Your laptop camera needs to be where you be able to maintain eye contact. So when you're speaking to them, instead of looking at their face on the screen, try to look at the laptop camera. So that's where you're kind of maintaining eye contact. Do you understand? So things like your lighting, like you need to make sure that you're sitting in front of a light source basically and you're not backing it like the way I am like this. There's light in front of me. Do you understand? I'm sure you can see the other lights there, but that's not like a major light. So the major light is this one. That one is kind of dim, so it's not really affecting anything. And then also you should be able to dress the part. If you're going for an interview, try. I have one blazer. That blazer has head it. Like if I have an interview, like that's what I'm wearing. So like have a nice outfit that you can always show up. If you don't have a blazer, you can just wear a white shirt. Like white shirt, just wear a shirt, a nice shirt that is not too shouty, has a nice neutral color, and you're good to go. So when it was time for the interview, when they started to introduce themselves, I was already scared. I was like, oh my god, can I do this? Like I was already scared. So first of all, I'm not even going to sit down here and tell you that, oh, I did all these things and then I was now so good and I was now so perfect and everything. See, it was God that helped me. It was God. Because if you have to have all these things after doing all the right things, like, of course, you have to pray and trust God. So when they were introducing themselves, I was already scared. I was like, oh my God, can I do this? Can I do this? And I'm telling you, somehow I just had that confidence. The confidence will come because you've prepared. So I had that confidence and the questions started to come. And I was able to tackle these questions. It was just one question I was not able to answer. And luckily for me, most of the questions that I prepared for came out. Now, even if not all of them come out, do you understand? Even though it was tell me about yourself question that you're able to ace, it gives you confidence to go through the interview. But see, when you start that interview already stammering and you don't know what you're talking about, it already sets a very bad tone. Like the notes that they are making from that beginning is going to affect you. Do you understand? So even though you've not practiced for the exact questions, you'll be able to get tips from what you've practiced that you'll be able to use to answer what they're asking you. So I'm telling you, like, it's like magic. Like, they're asking me these questions I was able to remember what I've read. Like, even the things that I was reading, and I was like, I'm not sure what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if I even know what I'm doing. But they were asking these questions. I could remember what I've read. I was able to fine tune them. I was able to say it the way I was supposed to say it. Like, there's a difference between when you go for an interview and you know that you're hitting the right notes. Like, you're answering the questions the way it should be answered. I was answering these questions like, and the more you know you're getting it, the more confident, that confidence is going to come from nowhere, and you just keep saying it. Do you understand? So I finished this interview. I was really confident, although I was still nervous, like, what if? But I was really confident about how the interview had gone. They even said, of course, I'm not going to forget this part. You need to be able to prepare questions. You need to be able to prepare intelligent questions to ask them. It might not even be something so serious. You can have one question that has to do with the role. You can have one question that has to do with the organization, and just ask them something as simple as what you expect somebody in this role to achieve in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months. Just the question that sometimes when I ask them questions, they're like, that's a tough one. Like, put them on the spot also. So these are the things I did to be able to ace my interview. And I've already told you, like, when the result came out, I was blown away. It was like, congratulations on your excellent performance. Like, I still cannot get over that. If you're someone that really gets anxious, I'm that kind of person that really normally get anxious. Of course, you might still be anxious. Your heart is going to be beating. Don't think that it's not happened. Your heart is going to be beating, but you will still deliver. Sometimes you think your heart is beating, but you've done an amazing job. So if you've been given enough time to prepare for an interview for a job that you really want to get, put your best in it. People get jobs every single day. Like, your story can change from unemployed to employed in like 2 seconds. Like, it just takes you for you to go for that interview and ace it, and you have the job. I'm telling you. So I'm rooting for you. I know that you can do this. I was able to do it. So I know for a fact that you can also do it. You just need to go the extra mile and prepare ahead. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. I'm believing and trusting that you got a lot of value from it. If you did, please put a comment in the comment section. Share your interview experience with us, experience about how you were shy or nervous, or if you've watched this video and went for an interview, please, if you've applied the steps in this video and you went for an interview, please tell us in the comment section how the tips in this video has helped you ace your dream job. Thank you so much once again. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.